Rise and shine, beautiful souls. Welcome to Rise into Royalty with Kevin Rise.
And Lacey Rise.
Today we got something that just dropped by us, family. We're just going to do a live quick review of it. We haven't seen it before yet, but apparently it's about a mother who shows up to take her son back because she sees the father's girlfriend feeding the baby on live. So she's going to go havoc, okay, just by reading the caption here. So let's see what it's about.
Sundays, I got it for the weekend like
the weekend's cut short.
What the fuck?
Hey, go get him.
I'm like,
go get my baby son, please.
So I
don't care. Give me my motherfucking child.
I told you do not come out here. Why you drove way out here anyway?
You shouldn't be on live with some feeding my baby and all this and that. I would need my child, send him outside.
So
now.
that's why you came out. I told you don't come way out here for that shit. No, you wasting gas.
Send him outside.
Are you wasting gas when I told you don't come?
I don't give a send him outside. Go get him.
I'm not getting nothing with
that. I bet you we go to court. I bet you we go to court.
Go to court for what?
We're going to go to court.
Go to court for what?
We're going to go to court.
We're going to go to court for what?
I'm going to get full custody.
Today's fair for custody.
Go get my child. Go get my child. Go get my child. I get full custody of my child. Because you got to be around people that's supposed to be around for one.
My girlfriend. My girlfriend not been with for a whole year.
I don't know her. I don't with her like that.
So you don't know
I don't with her like that. Go get my baby.
You know Liz. You seen her before.
Shit, my partner. Go get my child.
But you know her already.
Go get my child.
Go get my
child.
be having 3, 4, 5 around him, but you be having 3, 4, 5 around him, but do I say anything?
I don't give a
See what I'm saying?
I don't give a Go get my baby.
So it's cool. It's cool if you have all these dudes around her.
I can do what I want to do.
You know what I'm saying?
You can
do what you want to do,
but
I can't have nobody. She's feeding him. Now she was hurting him.
She's supposed to be feeding him. You supposed to be feeding him.
What the f***? I
can't by you.
Man, see what I'm saying?
Go get him. Go get him. Go get my child. Go get my child.
She really wasted gas when
I know it could be slow and rain, still slow. I want him. Now, go get him. You supposed to be feeding him. Go get him.
I told you I didn't even come here though.
I don't care. Go get him.
No, I'm not getting that. You came out. You're the f***ing rain looking stupid, huh? You're looking stupid. You're not getting.
I don't give a Go get my child.
No, you'll get him tomorrow. You'll get him tomorrow on Sundays. I got it for the weekend like
the weekend's cut short. What the fuck? Go get him.
I'm like,
go get my baby son, please.
So I can't see him no more.
I can't. See what I'm saying?
No, I can't. So I can't have him no more.
Go get my child. Go get my child. Go get my child.
You mad because I know? You mad because I want to keep my? That's dumb shit.
Now,
bro. That's dumb shit, man.
Well, you should never had him on live. What the? She feeding him and all that when you supposed to be feeding him. Go get him. Don't matter what you talking about. I want my kid.
You gonna catch the cold. You go home.
I can catch the flu. Go get him. I want my child.
Go home, bro.
I want my.
No, watch the fuck. Watch back. Watch back. Do not come in my house. No. Do not come in my house, man. My girl wouldn't want that. I don't give a
about to close the scene. All right.
You look. You're going to have to go somewhere, man. Like this. You're not
going nowhere. I'm not going nowhere. Go get my kid.
Man, you're not going nowhere.
Go get him.
Go get my kid. See what I'm saying? This the shit I got to go through.
I don't give a fuck. You record it.
That's the shit.
That's
the shit I'm going to see. That's the shit.
That's why you're the predicament you're in now. You want to record it.
No, I don't want to forget. She want to talk about she want to get a fuck. She want to go to court. First of all, you can't afford it. You can't afford it. It's not full custody. Stupid ass. You can't. You ain't got enough money for a lawyer. You ain't got enough money for a lawyer. What you gonna say? You gonna say my bad dad? You gonna say my bad dad? Because I'm letting my girlfriend feed my child. Man, you sound stupid, man. Come on, whatever, man. Enjoy your self. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your day. Look. Yeah, show me whatever. I'm not tripping. Sundays, I got it for the weekend like
the weekend's cut short.
Oh my goodness, yo. Goodness, man. So, obviously she's trying to police how he takes care of his child. And one of the things you guys got to understand is this. If you're in a relationship with somebody or you have a child with somebody, whatever the case may be, the moment you guys are no longer in that relationship, however it failed, cheating, failing to negotiate, failing to submit, failing to see things each other's way, so you guys decide to break apart. You have to understand the other person's going to move on. This means someone else will be in your child's life, will be around your children. And if you are a person who holds precedent being in your child's life and no one else being in their life to raise them, then you probably want to stay together. However, if you guys are not willing to stay together or it's so bad that you can't, you have to know that the opposite side is going to happen. When you leave, this person is going to move on and other people will be in your children's life. It just is what it is. Now, you have to ask yourself whenever you are in these type of discussions or arguments, are you representing emotion or are you representing logic? Logically, she has men around the children. She says, I don't give a F. I do what I want to do. You know why she feels she can do what she wants to do? Because she's the mother. See, this Roe v. Wade thing, it talks about autonomy within the body and a woman having a right to her body when it comes to aborting a child while it's in her body. The problem with that is they take that to the extent of it being outside of their body. Once the child is born, then it still belongs to her because she carried it. So she's going to think that she's the warden to the child, that she can police you and have you jump through obstacles to be a father to your child. It's crazy. Now, that's where she gets the entitlement from. She's the mother. I can do what I want to do. That's where that comes from. But the emotion is real. Seeing someone else nurture your child has got to be devastating to you. And she is the nurturer. This is the feminine right here. Okay, she's not acting very feminine right here. But she is here to get her child back because she's seeing another woman nurture her child. You got to understand how that would feel. That's like you seeing another man throwing a football with your son. Do you understand? Teaching your son something masculine. Obviously, you say, that's my place to do that. Nobody else should be doing that. Well, you're probably right. The problem is you have a broken home. When you guys sever that relationship, then that other person that's in that man or woman's life will be in your child. And they likely will do feminine or masculine things with your child. As they should, because they're now going to be in your child's life. Now, the woman that he's dealing with, she's not doing anything negative around the son. She's feeding him. Now, this makes her feel uncomfortable. It's own life, so she's feeling embarrassed and all this stuff. She's in her ego. Okay, obviously in pain from seeing her child be fed by someone else. And she's 38 hot. Then jumped up to drive all the way to this man's house and take the child back because she feels she has a right. You don't, though. It is his time to see the child. And you've had the child for probably 10 days straight. And every 10 days he gets the child for 2. It's probably one of those every other weekend deals. And you think you can cut his weekend short. She says, I'm cutting your weekend short. Like thinking that she's the warden. I don't like what's going on, so I'm going to come over here and take my child back. My child. Notice she keeps saying, it's my child. No, no, no. This is why you have to be careful about who you lay down with. Because whoever you lay down with, pending this person signs over their rights, it is 50% their child. You don't get to dictate everything that goes around in that child just with your mind frame. You have to account for how they live too. This is why you want to make sure that who they are before you sleep with them. Because once that child is had, they the parent too. You understand? So here she is acting a fool. Bring my child out now. I don't care what you got going on. He's trying to reason with her. You telling me I'm a bad parent. You talking about taking me to court. So now she's threatening to take his child from him permanently. This is not cool. Women, I'm trying to tell you, I know you can get so hot with your emotion. And I know in the moment that feels like the right thing to do. I'm telling you right now, that's the absolute last thing you should be doing. Imagine someone threatened to take your child from you, what that would do to you. A man would have to really be in his man frame and really be practicing restraint to not lash out when someone threatens to take his child. This other person who think they have a right to take his child from him. Believe me, he sees it as his child too. So what both of y'all got to understand is his child and it's your child. Together, what does that make it? Y'all's child. And if y'all playing tug of war with this child, the only person that will be affected is the child. Do you understand? Or hurt as a child. Y'all gonna be hurt too, but you're gonna truly damage this child by sitting here tugging at them with all the emotion. It's just lies, okay? You have several men around the children. You got all these people around the children all the time. She says, so I do what the F I want to do. So now watch this, family. She's gonna have people around the child with no thought for how he feels about it. She doesn't care. She says, I do what I want to do. There goes the entitlement. I do what I want. So I can show up and take the child because I want to, and I can also do exactly what I don't want you doing when I have my child. My child. I can have whoever I want around them. But what if somebody was to hurt your child? My child too. It's very important who you have around my child, but here's the thing. He understands that. He understands that there's nothing he can do about it. You understand? A man feels those feelings too. We don't know who that man is around our kid. We don't know who that is. So we want to stand up and say, don't have that person around our child. But at the same time, you can't police that. If she's bad with choosing men, if she's bad with who she settled down with, who she let between her legs, when you walk away from her, you can damn well be sure that she's going to choose somebody who you probably not going to agree with, family. And you can't do anything about it. That's the thing. This is what broken homes look like. You have no control over what that other person is doing. You only can control what your child is doing when they're with you, family. Now, if they're doing something that's definitely hurting your child, you're going to have to take them to court. You can't just show up and say, give me my child. That's not how it works. So in this instant, he shouldn't even been arguing with her. I would have simply closed the door in her face, and I would have called the police to have her escorted off of the premises. Because she's not going to be outside acting a fool like that with my child in the house during the time that I'm supposed to get with my child out here acting a fool because of how we in here doing. I'm not hurting my child. He said him and that girl been together for over a year. So they in there loving on each other, forming a relationship and bond with his child. That's exactly what should be happening if you got somebody in your life. They should be getting to know your children if you're willing to if you're trying to get serious with them. Now, if she don't got that type of person in her life, okay. But she has multiple dudes around. So we don't even have to go into the stipulations of how they doing this. She simply doesn't want to hear what he has to say, but she wants to do what she wants to do. And that's completely, there's no way you can have a conversation or a negotiation with someone who's doing that. You understand? And then he tells her, like, you ain't even got the money for no court. Like, you show up here threatening for court, and when I ask you what for, you just keep saying, we can go to court. We can go to court. We can go to court, because you don't know why you're going to court. And here you are trying to pull lever, trying to pull rank and take this child up out this man's house. That is ridiculous, man. And this is one of the most toxic videos I've actually witnessed when it comes to that co-parenting relationship. You understand? Guys, it's people out here who do this stuff now. It's men who do it too. And a lot of you women be like, yo, he's trying to control my life. He's trying to control my life. When other men come into my life, he's trying to push them out of my life and threaten them and threaten me because I'm moving on with my life. You don't like how that feels when he does that, right? Well, and you're right. He's 100% wrong when he does that, because he cannot control you if he's not going to be in a relationship with you. He can't control you, period. You understand? But he definitely can't control who you're gonna have in your life or who you're gonna have around you if he's no longer in a relationship with you. You understand? So equally, you can't do that either. You can't do that, family. So think about this before you leave this person alone. Your child is going to potentially have another person in their life. If that's important to you, try staying with that person, try working it out. But it's more important to know who they are before you get with them, before you plant your seed with them. You understand? Because it can end up like this. And I always say dumb people do dumb things. You know, obviously her emotions are real. Absolutely. But the way she's going about it is absolutely wrong. This is no understanding of reality and trying to argue with the universe. Absolutely. You're not going to like that somebody else is around your child. You're not going to like that. Trust me, you're going to totally be against that, yo. Absolutely. But you cannot do anything about it. This is reality when you don't be with the mother of your children, when you don't be with the father of your children. That is the reality of it all, yo. And you're not going to be able to push somebody away when they're not causing your child harm. You're simply not going to be able to do it, yo. That is toxic, and they need to have a conversation in the courtroom, and she needs to know what she can and can't do regarding this child when it comes to when he has the child. Absolutely. You understand? She needs to learn this, because if she keeps doing this type of stuff, it's probably going to be grounds for completely taking away her custody, because that right there is causing harm. You understand? She could have him, obviously he could be put in jail if he was to react with her and meet her on her energy. She tries to walk into the house. You see what I'm saying? So I'm glad he stayed calm. But you sitting here challenging people about their children. You don't know what you're going to bring out of them. I don't know what I'd do if somebody showed up on my porch talking about, give me my kid back. Like, I don't know what I would do. I probably wouldn't care what they're thinking. All I'm thinking is, what make you think you can come and take my child back? I ain't doing nothing wrong to him. You know what I mean? So, and a lot of men would have thought that way as well. Now, however that looks, we don't know. You know, I certainly wouldn't have beat her up or nothing. You know what I mean? But I would have been like, yo, get the fuck off my property before I call the police on you right now. And I would have. I'd have called them boys on her. I really would have. Because you're not about to sit here and do this. And I'm not going to sit here and argue with you. Because you're not trying to hear what I got to say. I sit here and say, you have people around the child. And you clearly told me you don't care. You're not looking for something to be fair. You're telling me that you do what you want to do, and I also have to do what you want me to do. Hell no. Hell no. Now, we're going to have to go to the court about this. She's saying, I'm going to take you to court. I'm going to take you to court. He says, you don't have the money to take me to court. What he should say is, maybe I'll consider paying for court myself with this video so they can see what you're doing. Because you're definitely wrong for what you're doing. You understand? You got to start thinking ahead, family. All right, you can't be in your emotions and try to control how you feel by controlling other people. Sometimes you just got to deal with how you feel and take responsibility for what's happening, because you really kind of chose that when you didn't work it out. You really kind of chose that when you laid down with this person.
Absolutely.
You understand? Before we close out, anything you want to say, babe?
Ladies, oftentimes when you have a child with a man and the relationship does not work out emotionally, you feel like you've done something wrong, you failed, or, you know, and there's always that secret desire to make everything work. So out of that feeling, so much pettiness comes to the surface. You will even bring males around your children to make the father of your child jealous, to get him to come back and fight for his family. And sometimes those head games blow up in your face. He realizes that you're moving on, and he makes the necessary adjustment, and he moves on as well. And when you see in front of your face that he is actually pursuing another woman, not only is he pursuing another woman, but he's giving her access to your child, it will send a rush through your body like you've never felt, because you were not serious about these men. You were just trying to create an emotional reaction within the father of your child, and you were hoping that he would miss you guys and plead to be back in the situation. And sometimes it doesn't work out your way. You learn that he's really done with you. And all of this stuff and this pettiness comes from a woman that's still emotionally connected to the father of her child and still wants to be with him. Because a woman that is done is going to let him live his life. A woman that is done and trying to live her life would have saw that live and said, as long as my baby has all their fingers and toes, they're good, she's taking care of them, we'll have that conversation another day. I want to meet her. But when you start trying to use the child to manipulate the situation, you know you're still emotionally tied in every part of your body to this man. You don't want him to move on. You want him to continue to chase, to continue to plead, to continue to beg. And because you have his most prized possession, you feel you can continue to negotiate with that. Eventually, he will realize what you're doing, and he will either take you to court, or he will remove himself from not only your life, but his own child's life to get rid of you as a toxic individual. You are not thinking rationally, you're being emotional. When the relationship is over, it is over. You have to live your life, let him live his life, and you two find a healthy way to co-parent, because now it's officially 100% about the welfare of the child. This right here is not going to do anything positive for none of you. It's going to leave a bad taste in everyone's mouth. And if your son is growing up with this going on all the time, he's going to find someone to hate. And it may be you.
It definitely will be you. That's the thing about it, is the one she's trying to protect is the one she's hurting.
Absolutely.
When you go and rip your son from his house, you hurt your son too. He was spending time with his daddy.
Absolutely.
And your reasoning is not going to make sense to that child. Trust me, it's not. And I said on the last video, anytime you become an obstacle to a man seeing his child, you are toxic.
Absolutely.
You don't get to do that. You just don't. You've already gave him permission to be the father when you laid down with him. You don't get to judge him now and tell him he can't be, regardless of how righteous you feel in doing that. You cannot do that, family. You understand? And I can imagine it's on live. People probably hit her up and was like, girl, you got that? You let that happen? You need to tell them people to mind their business.
Exactly.
Do not allow those people to have you all emotional and running out here, flying by the seat of your pants, flying by emotion, how you feel in the exact moment. Women like this, you see how she's arguing so toxic, right? This is probably what broke the relationship down. They can't even have a conversation, yo. She's being very masculine in how they talk right now. She's being very entitled. I don't give a F. I do what the F I want to do. Like, yo, ain't nobody trying to be with no woman who act like that. Yo, I'm just going to be real with you. So when they say, yo, I've had enough of you, I'll just raise my kid, yo. He's already thought in his mind, yo, I'm going to have to deal with my child being around another man. I know I am. But he says, I can't take no more how she treated me, though. I can't do this stuff. And Lacey's right. If you keep it up, I've seen men abandon their whole child. I've seen them say out of their mouth, F them kids. Because they're so tired of being pulled by their emotions, by this woman using their child as leverage, weaponizing their child, their love for their child. I'm telling you, y'all, it's crazy.
And the sad thing is, lastly, if another woman is brought in to experience your child and be a part of that child as a somewhat of a step parent. When you are presenting and surrounding your child with a lot of toxicity, if that woman is a different experience, a more positive experience, especially when your child is really young, your child will get attached. And your child will choose their feminine influencer. Like, I've seen it happen where a woman is toxic towards her own child consistently, and the man moves on and finds someone else. And now when the child is with him, this child has a beautiful experience with his new girlfriend and soon to be fiance. And the next thing you know, that child doesn't even perform for you. That child is always misbehaving and rebelling against you. And the complete opposite personality is true when that child is with their father and his fiance. You know what I mean? And I've seen that end with the mother throwing in the towel, saying, I can't even take care of my own child anymore because my child refuses to listen to me. Because your child is breaking ties with their own biological mother and forcing the dad to, at that point, take full custody and raising her child with another woman. It will happen. Don't think because you've had a child that they have this guaranteed love and loyalty for you. They will gravitate towards what feels good to them. And if you're not their best experience, they will find it elsewhere.
That's a fact. So you better be considering how you're raising a family. Because your children ain't going to be biased, I'm telling you.
They're not.
They're not getting what they need from you. They'll go somewhere else and get it. And if all they're getting from you is negative reinforcement, if there's another figure in their life who can give them that positive reinforcement, they will begin to lean more to that way. You better understand that.
And they will.
So please learn, family. Don't argue with the universe. Reality will happen. It sucks. You will have to see somebody else around your child. You will have to see your child love another man, another woman, and like a father. Sometimes even call them father or mother, daddy or mama. Yo, that cannot feel good. I completely understand it. But I saw a video the other day, and I'll try to find you to post it at the end of this. But this man did a video, and he was talking. It was Father's Day, and he was saying that there was times in his child's life when he wasn't there for his child. He was completely non-existent. And he said, but it was men who was there for his child during those times. Now, he's in his child's life now. But he was like, happy Father's Day to those men. Because you did not have to do that.
Absolutely.
I wasn't there for my son. And I thank y'all so much for being there when I wasn't.
To the two men that was in my son and my daughter's life while I was running the streets, neglecting my children, chasing women, chasing drugs, getting locked up, standing on the block, sleeping on my ass, worried about everything but my children. Those two men were there because those two men could have been creeps, abusing my children, right? Mentally abusing my children, physically abusing my children. They could have been rapists and child molesters, but they weren't. They were teaching my kids how to be responsible, raising them, going to teacher parent conferences, taking them to the park, pushing them on the swings, helping them ride a bike, wiping their tears away, right? So I just want to honor those men. Because, yeah, today I'm a good father. Today I'm a great father. But those men were there when I wasn't. So I want to honor them and say thank you. This is a transparent moment. Thank you.
You think that feel good to say? You think that feel good to know?
Right.
But you got to accept reality and say, look, I'm thinking for my child. I appreciate you being there for my child.
Absolutely.
When he didn't have even me to depend on. I thank you because what's more important is that your child got what they need, yo. And you sitting here thinking with ego. Yo, that's crazy, man. And you think you're a good parent. You're not.
At all.
You better start thinking about that child and getting them everything they need to grow up and be a strong, functional adult, family.
Absolutely.
And stop thinking about how you want to see your kids being raised. Because you don't know what you're talking about. Seriously. Be evolution. Be the change that you want to see. No candle loses its flame from lighting another. And if you were to ever find yourself in the middle of chaos,
it is in that chaos that you have found yourself.
Facts. And you will never cross the ocean until you have the courage to leave the shore. Peace.
Peace. Bye.